Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Testy Tuesday. Yep, that's what it is. It's a beautiful, gorgeous day out here. We had all this rain yesterday, which we most dearly needed, and now it's refreshing, it's cool. We got some hot days ahead of us, including today, but right now it is awesome out. Hopefully it is where you are as well. Hey, let's take a look at what else is awesome, and that is what we have in our Old Testament lesson for this coming week. We're still going to be in the 18th chapter of Genesis, and you might recall that last week Abraham and Sarah had entertained some strangers who were passing by their tent, let them in, gave them some food and a place to rest and some water to drink and all that kind of stuff. Well, more than just water, some good stuff too. But these men were on a mission, and as we find out, their mission is going to Sodom and Gomorrah. Who wants to go there? Those awful, horrible cities? Well, yeah. You see, by this point, God has heard there's not nice stuff going on in Sodom and Gomorrah. There's some pretty nasty stuff. And he wants to go check it out for himself. So he sends these three visitors, angels, could be, on ahead. And then God gets in this little conversation with himself, and that's what we now have going on in chapter 18. He's going, man, should I tell Abraham what I'm up to or not? You see, because Abraham has relatives living there. And when he does talk to Abraham about it, Abraham goes, it just can't be. And that is where our Testy Tuesday question comes into effect. Abraham gets into a bargaining session with God and tries to convince God not to go through with his plans of destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah because there are righteous people living there. So we ask, would you do this if there were 50 righteous people living in this city? Would you spare the whole city for the sake of that 50? And God says, well, yeah, I'll do it. God, what if there's only 45? Will you still spare it? Yeah, I'll do that. And it goes down and down. But how far down does it go? That's the Testy Tuesday question of the day. How far down does the bargaining chip go? I'm not going to give you any answers because we're already down to 45. No, we're down to 40, right? And it goes even lower. You might remember this from your Sunday school days. The answer is Abraham gets all the way down to 10 people, and that's where it ends. Now, if you read on in chapter 19, you find out that even then, there's not 10, so the city is destroyed. But not before Abraham gets the word out to Lot and his family to get out of town. Of course, you also know what happens to Lot's wife, right? Not part of our lectionary reading. In fact, it's not in the Revised Common Lectionary at all, so you have to get this as a Sunday school story. Lot's wife turns back to look at the city when they were told not to look back, and she turns into that pillar of salt. Kind of a wild and weird and wacky story. Yeah, it is. But you know what else? I'm not going to get into Saturday stuff because that's not what it's going to be this week. But here, it's in the bargaining chip. You see what happens here. Abraham came near to God and said, will you indeed sweep away the righteous with the wicked? Now, I know I've said this before. It's difficult often to translate the Hebrew into English and to make it come alive in the way it would have in the Hebrew text. Well, I'm going to try to make that come alive for us right now in our English text. Try to translate this, will you indeed, as, really, God? Really? You're going to do that? You're going to sweep away the righteous with the wicked? Yeah, that's the feel of the word, the Hebrew word that's used here. And then a little bit later he says, far be it from you to do such a thing, to slay the righteous with the wicked. Far be it. It's another way to translate that, and a better way to put it into our English right now is not far be it from you to do that. That sounds too proper. It's No way you're going to do that, God. So you see all the emotion and the feeling that goes into Abraham's dialogue with God? No way. You can't do that. Really? You're going to do that? Yeah. Think about that. This is Abraham talking with God. We often refer to prayer as our time to talk with God. Are you to talk to God like that? Should you talk to God like that? Well, maybe it's not such a bad idea. So we have this Old Testament passage paired with our gospel lesson for this week from Luke, which is Jesus teaching his disciples how to pray, the Lord's Prayer. It's an intimate prayer. It's personal. It's talking with God. That's what we have going on in this story with Abraham. Abraham talking with God. Yes, we get into chapter 19 and we see that even though God has heard Abraham out and promised him if there were at least 10 people, well, guess what? There weren't at least 10 people. So, fire and brimstone. And there's a lot more to the story, as we'll see, as Sodom and Gomorrah are now upheld as prime examples of what's going to come your way if you don't get yourself right with God. Divine punishment. Oh. Well, it is a beautiful day, so if you have any outdoor work, get out there, get it done, enjoy the more refreshing weather, at least while we have it, because it's going to get hot and sticky one more time. God's blessings be with you as you have fun with this passage, Genesis, the 18th chapter, starting with verse 20. God's blessings be with you.